with Mr. Clay Martin and with Mr. John Cullen. And for everybody listening, they say they can't hear it. They're doing work on my building, and it is mind-numbingly annoying right now. But I think Zoom's canceling it out, so I might mute myself during this and just only pop in when I have something to say. But John Cullen's been on here multiple times. We've talked about everything from COVID to asteroids to and then the Vegas shooting. Clay's been on here a million times. The links to all of Clay's books are in the description. Most recently, Barbarian Spirit, Wrath of Wendigo, all that shit. They're both their Twitters, both their page or not Clay's Cullen's Patreon. They're all in there. John came on right after the Trump shooting, and we kind of went through everything. And you were like, "I'll happily." You're like, "Bring on an expert. Like, let's break it down." And Clay said he was like, "I felt a disturbance in the force. There was a second shooter," and I was like, Fair enough." So I'm gonna mute myself on the off chance that it is coming through on one of these things. But yeah, I don't. Whoever wants to jump into Clay, but before John gives you the pitch, why do you think it's a second shooter?
First of all, dude, it was just a gut feeling when it first happened, which I've said, yeah, it could be just, JFK conspiracy leftovers, but I felt it. Like, I was like, there was definitely a second shooter. The second thing, the big reasoning for me is a lot of cards got played, as I've said, to set this thing up. And there is no way that chucklehead kid that was the patsy was the primary plan. I do think they wanted to kill Trump. There's no way that you would pick that guy as your trigger man and your one and only trigger man. And it also makes it very plausible to kill Trump, get some gun control on the board, all the fun stuff, and tie everything up in a neat, tidy little bow and be done with it.
John.
Yeah, well, what I tend to focus on here, and Clay, I'm incredibly grateful that you're coming on the show and joining us here. Thank you. For the people who are meeting you for the first time, can you share with them a little bit of your background and your qualifications? You've served 2 tours of duty, is that right?
I was in 2 branches of service. So I was a scout sniper in the Marine Corps. I graduated from both the Marine Scout Sniper School, Urban Sniper School, and did special operations for them. Crossed back to the Army. I was a sniper and assaulter in an elite counterterrorism unit, as well as I taught level 1 and level 2 SOTICs, which is the Special Operations Target Interdiction Course Sniper School.
So you are a sniper instructor.
Yes. Yes.
So first you become a sniper, then you teach new snipers how to be that. Okay,
correct.
Fantastic.
And I also rather uniquely taught the Marine Corps' urban sniper course as well as a contractor. So I've taught in both services as well.
So there's probably not 10 people on the planet as qualified as you to talk about what we're about to talk about, which is about ballistic trajectories, crack thump calculations, muzzle velocity, calibers, and that's what we're going to get into right now. And I will share with you that which got my attention first was a phenomenon that I witnessed taking place down the back row of the bleachers. And I said, what the hell is going on here? What is this all about? And so this kind of set me off on a exploration into the ballistics of this. And for those of you who are watching who have seen Tommy and Clay before but are not familiar with my stuff, I'm the guy that put forward the helicopter theory on the Las Vegas shooting. So if you've ever heard that the Las Vegas shooting was guys in helicopters, that's me. That's my work. And if you ever heard that that was actually a Saudi assassination attempt on the Crown Prince, that's my work too. So that's all my stuff. So what I'm looking at here is the ballistic stuff, and that's what I did in the Vegas shooting. Was I started looking at the ballistic trajectories and trying to figure out where is the shooting coming from. Once I can figure out where the
go ahead. Clay was asking something.
Joe, can I jump in there real quick with you for a second? And this is funny because I didn't know those were your theories, but uniquely, I was in Vegas 3 weeks after that event for a Springfield Armory event, and I don't drink anymore, so I walked the ground, and I support that theory 100%.
We should go do an episode. Yeah. We should go out there and I'll walk you around and we'll look at the tanks and we'll look at the shots at the tanks and again some of the ballistic trajectories. This is what I specialize in. This is what I do. I focus on the ballistics so that I can figure out how many shooters are there, who's shooting from where, what is going on here, and then that will most often lead me to who's behind it. But I can't figure that out until I really understand the crime scene. So my first step is understand the crime scene. So let me show you sort of where I began here. And I'm going to jump into a video that's maybe the second or third iteration along, meaning the first video was kind of rough, and I'm like, is this something, am I seeing something here or not? And then I put this video together maybe a day or 2 or 3 later, and I'm going to share this with the audience, Tommy, if I can. Is that okay if I share a video?
Yep, all yours.
Okay. So I'm going to share this. And what we're doing here is we're going to focus on the back row of the bleachers. Now, these are the bleachers if you're facing the president, which the camera is. I've cropped in on the right side. And we're watching the back row. We got a bunch of people standing up in the back row of the bleachers. There's kind of a railing behind them. And we're going to watch them, and we're also going to watch the right corner of that back row, because there's something that's going to happen ballistically on the railing. So let's take a look at this and see what's going on.
People talk too much, put that shit in slow motion.
When I really see something that says, take a look what happened. What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened?
We see a ballistic event occurring on that railing. Something hit the rail right there. Something hit the rail. And that trajectory looks to be moving left to right. And we've got everybody down the row falling, flinching, lifting, something. Everybody down the row is falling down. It's like, whoa, what's going on here? Everybody's flinching. This guy takes a tumble. Watch this. What the hell is that? This guy tumbles. The guy in the black pants and the white shirt is Copenhagen. He ends up getting shot. That's not the shot that shoots him, but that he's flinching from that. So clearly what's going on back here is it looks like it's grazing the back row. Then I flip over to somebody, I think you guys know this guy, right? This is a Fieldcraft Survival Tactical. And he says he has it on pretty good authority that the guys on the northern snipers were taking fire. Let me play this clip for you guys. Let's listen to this.
Because this is what everyone thinks is the infamous shot, and it's not.
Take a look what happened.
All right, so you hear 3 shots, boom, 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 unsuppressed, pretty clear. You see the guy, the counter sniper with the tripod. He's on his optic. He pops his head up, pops right back down. You see the rifle tilt down, tilt up, and he backs up. You see the other guy who's prone actually hunkering his head down and hunkering down. Now, yes, I understand it's their job to stay on scope and engage a threat. I understand that. And shooting, they actually thought, and again, this is inside information coming from the source, they actually thought they were being engaged because they could hear the sonic crack of the rounds passing by them. And they actually thought they were being shot at, not Trump.
That's the key. The guys on the northern roof, you got a team of guys, they think they're taking fire. Let me play this one more time.
And shooting, they actually thought, and again, this is inside information coming from the source, they actually thought they were being engaged because they could hear the sonic crack of the rounds passing by them. And they actually thought they were being shot at, not Trump.
All right, so ballistically, what does that look like? Let me show you guys. So what I started with was a diagram, and the diagram shows rough and tough where people were, right? Who's standing where and where might these things. So what happens is I start out by focusing on the people in the bleachers back here. And we see this shot come down the row of the back row of the bleachers. It's the line in green. The white stick figure guy here. This guy is the guy in the white shorts and the white top and the red hat. He takes a tumble. The guy in red down here, that's David Dutch. He ends up getting shot twice. This is the guy with the black shirt and the white shirt and the black pants. He flinches. We see him flinch, and we see a whole bunch of people down the row flinch, and we see the puff of smoke here in the corner. Poof. So I'm looking at that. I'm going, well, wait a second. That bullet would be traveling down that back row. The trajectory would take us where? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Somebody's shooting at the snipers and missing, and those shots are traveling down the back row and hit the rail. That's what we're seeing here. We are seeing a shot at these guys miss. And it goes right down that back row, just as it should. The only issue was, where does the green line lead? Because it's not Dunkin' Donuts. If it was Dunkin' Donuts, we'd be at Ben Affleck's house right now. Knock, knock. Hey, Ben, what are you doing? Right? Where was Matt Damon that day, right? Would we be questioning them on the donut? But there's no Dunkin' Donuts out here. You know what's out here, Clay? You ever do saddle hunting? Ever been in a tree stand 20 to 30 feet up in a tree? I bet you have. I bet you have. How quiet could you be 30 feet up in a tree? You're muted. You're on mute. How quiet could you be 30 feet up in a tree? Would anybody know you're up there?
Oh, no, not a chance. No, not a chance.
There you
Most
go.
people won't even think to look there either.
There you go. How long? So if you took shots and you're up in a tree with your skills or any of your students, you go, dude, you ghost up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially
Nobody knows you're there. You guys will pee in your pants for 10 hours until 3 in the morning. Right? I mean, am I wrong? Am I right? Come on, tell everybody.
Right.
Right? You're gonna die. Right. It's you're gonna die, or you're gonna pee in your pants until 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or you'll dehydrate. You guys don't drink. I know that too. You guys dehydrate so that you don't pee in your pants. Nobody's gonna see you up that tree 30 feet. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, like a mouse, you're coming down in your ghillie. Then you walk right the hell out of there.
When this is actually an important point, for the audience that like doesn't know, that hasn't like played the sniper games and stuff. Part of the test that you have to pass in both or all the major sniper schools is shooting at sniper instructors on glass that know the direction you're coming from inside of 200 yards. And in order to do that to pass, there's little complicated rules and stuff like that. But you have to be able to shoot them twice from the same spot within 200 yards most of the time.
That's the ring the bell. That's the ring the bell. They don't actually shoot at you. They're shooting at a steel thing that's 10 yards or something like that. Yeah, yeah. So this isn't that out of the ordinary to those who are trained.
No, not even a little bit.
Fantastic. All right. So ballistically, I'm looking at this day 2, day 3, and I'm terribly uncomfortable. And I'm looking at it going, somebody's up in a tree? In a tree stand? And then somebody sends me a tweet and says, dude, tree stands are so 1996. Everybody's saddle hunting now. They're in a harness and a rappelling thing. There's no stand. There's no stand. It's up and down. I don't need no freaking climbing tree stand. That's 1996. All right. So now with saddle hunting technology, up and down is not a big deal.
That's also Japanese snipers from as far back as World War II.
In the trees?
Yes, just like that with a harness.
There you go. All right. So it's not that crazy as much as it seems crazy to people who live in Los Angeles or people who live in Soho or Greenwich Village. Like, what? A guy in a tree? Get the hell out of here. That's a conspiracy, crazy theory. But we're sitting here with one of the most experienced sniper instructors in the country telling you, no, that's standard operating procedure, guys. So that's important I think, for people to understand this. As crazy as this may seem, if your job was to take out the snipers, so that the primary shooter can have a shot at the target without losing his brains, and everybody gets away, right? If you take out the protective snipers, you guys can do the backstroke, right? You get to moonwalk out of there. If there's no sniper, if you take out those 4 snipers, you guys can change into Bozo the Clown outfits and nobody's even, right? I mean, come on, nobody's even going to notice a thing. They're dead. You drop those 4 guys, who's shooting back at you? The 5'4" chick with the Glock?
They said nobody with any chance.
Right? The 5'4" chick with the Glock is going to shoot back at you? Nobody had a long gun on nobody had any, not an MP7, nothing?
Oh, the counter.
Not a P90?
Yeah.
I mean, his immediate team.
Oh, no.
All they have are Glocks?
Rifles, but yeah, nobody else.
Come on, nobody had anything? That was insane to me. So anyway, net, we got the green trajectory. We hear that the tactical survival guy telling us he heard firsthand or what have you that these guys thought they were taking fire. Well, I want to show you a video that is evidence that these guys may have been taking fire. And what we've got is Vanessa Broussard from Right Side Broadcasting. And she is narrating in real time as everything is happening. And so the question then becomes, all right, so where are the snipers looking? What's going on here? Let's take a look at this video and see if we can figure out where the guys on the north building are looking. What's happening? What does Vanessa Broussard have to say? So let me play this video for you guys and you see what you think. I want to hear Clay's take on this. Now, this is the north team of snipers.
The night I laid my eyes on you.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
We got breaking news. Coming in. Shots fired. Seems to be shots fired at the Trump rally. No, he didn't. He did not. Is he okay?
The night I laid my eyes on.
You see which way he moved?
I never saw that one where he moved like that. Yes, I saw exactly which way he moved.
I want you to listen to what Vanessa Broussard says very carefully. Listen to her words very carefully. This is the key. Here we go.
Aiming at the trees. If you look to our left.
The night I laid my eyes on you.
Secret Service quickly erupted. You can see the snipers on the building behind the podium, aiming at the trees. If you look to our left, there are trees in the distance, and that seems to be where the gunfire is coming from.
Oh, my love, where you been?
These guys are taking fire, Clay. They turn to their right, they turn clockwise.
Yeah. Even without her words, you can tell. I've never seen that video, so this person has seen it actually. But you can tell by the way they shift position to the right there that they're looking not at the water tower, they're looking past that into the tree line. Obviously, I mean, I've never seen this one. That's what I take from it.
All right, so let me show you the kind of work that we've been doing here. So I'm part of a team of guys that have been working on this. I do a podcast every Friday with Jason Goodman. He's the guy who came to Thailand to show everybody whether or not I was a CIA operation spreading misinformation about the Vegas shooting because it seemed so fantastical, or was I just a divorced guy doing this stuff and just with a strange set of skills. And so he flew to Thailand and he comes out there and we spent 5 days together, and he's an expert at cinematography and all this other stuff. I'm pretty good at this ballistic crap. And so a lot of my background has to do with mapping. I helped the ESRI company build the mapping system that Johns Hopkins used to map the COVID thing. So mapping this venue is something that I've been working with a crew of people that have been helping us do this in 3 dimensions so that we can better understand the venue and we can get a sense of perspectives and we can place cameras in different places and see what kind of lines of sight we have to different targets and things of that nature. Where were the victims? Where were the shooters? Right? So we've got this modeling capability that we've been working on now. And the reason this is important is because when we start calculating crack thump distances and things of that nature, what is the distance from the podium to the shooter on the roof? And how do you measure that? Well, this is how we measure that. So we have this capability to do this, and this is because of my background, the background of a guy named Lee Stranahan, who was one of the original team members on the New Tech video toaster, which changed television. So Lee Stranahan, Jason Goodman, and I have been working on creating a 3-dimensional and then a 4-dimensional model of the scene, meaning right now it's 3D, which means it's static. What Jason and Lee bring to the table is the ability to turn this into what will look like an Unreal game, the type of thing that Tommy does. So Tommy plays these crazy games, that he's beyond Call of Duty. That's built in the Unreal Engine. Lee Stranahan teaches Unreal. Lee Stranahan is a master in Unreal. So Lee is going to turn this into Call of Duty. I mean, we're going to be able to make this photorealistic.
There's a fucking crazy game from the early 2000s that I always used to play, and I'm sure it terrified my parents, called JFK Reloaded.
There you go.
But the idea, it was to prove, can anyone get the shot? And they crowdsourced it. It was like global. It was a free game. I think it was like 2005, 2006. And finally, after like 100 million people tried, someone got the. But the point is like no one can ever get the shot. So the idea was like simply, can you just not even can you kill Kennedy? Can you do it how Oswald did it? And like no one could. It's a great game. But yeah, no, it's this is probably. I mean, I'm on every list anyway. But yeah, no, that's a great idea.
If you weren't, you are now.
Exactly. All right. Well, here you can see that we've got the counter sniper team modeled up here on the roof line, where they would be, right, give or take, right? We've got the podium, and I can switch the camera. So, for example, I can bring the camera to the podium, and we can see what was the view that the president had as he turned over his shoulder, right, looking back at the bleachers. There's this walkway, right, and he can see the building off in the distance, right? So there's the building, and here's the windows below the shooter's location. The shooter would have been right above there, all right? And we see the billboards. And I can zoom in and zoom out, so we can take a look at, what is his perspective of the counter snipers back here. He's got the bleachers behind him, right? So this is his perspective standing at the podium. So we've got a camera here at the podium. Then I've got other cameras. So I've got a camera where Corey, the fireman, was killed. Now this is his last known position that we have on film or on video, meaning this is what I mean by 4D. 4 dimensions will have him actually moving to where he was struck and where he collapses. In time, he moves. So the 3-dimensional model will become a 4-dimensional model, meaning as things happen. So for example, the far crane that's holding up the speakers at one point is up and at another point it's down. And that will be represented in the model. Just like, Tommy, this is just like your games. It's going to look like a game, right?
Yeah.
Except it's not a game, right? So we're modeling everything. And Tommy, you know that the way the bullets hit things in Unreal, things react different. If you shoot a bucket that's empty, it goes and flies away. If you shoot a bucket that's filled with water, it springs a hole and it starts to leak. Unreal has these properties in the engine. So as we build this out, things will have the properties so that when you shoot that railing, you're going to hear bing, and you're going to see a puff of smoke. We're going to line it up so that you hit that railing and we see the puff of smoke. in 4 dimensions. No one on earth is doing this except for Lee Stranahan, Jason Goodman, and me. I mean, it's the 3 of us are building this, and we got a support cast that is asked to remain anonymous behind the scenes that we've met through Twitter that are. So in other words, a guy who built the bleachers here, that wasn't me. I didn't build the bleachers. This is somebody who's helping me, who's a pro. He got the blueprints for the bleachers and imported the blueprints. So that's what I mean by the specificity here, Clay. It's a game of inches. You and I both know that. And that's why we're being this specific with this stuff.
I see this as an evolution of the weaponized autism, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Exactly. And I've got Asperger's, right? So you need to know that, right? So I'm a total Asperger freak, dude. Right. So, and I don't really care what people think. So I got a lot of people saying, oh, the guy's an asshole. I don't care. Right. So here is what we're doing, and we're lining stuff up. The rectangle here, the top of the rectangle represents the ear height of the president, which is 6 feet from the soles of his shoe. He's 6'3" at the top of his head. We took 3 inches off. 6 feet from the soles of his shoes. That's the shot. Okay. Now the shot from the rooftop, Clay, appears to be a declining shot. And what that means is that a declining shot that misses would probably end up maybe in the first row of the bleachers, not in the top row of the bleachers. And so we're starting to get into ballistic trajectory analysis now, because we have the model. Because we have the model, we can see that a downward shot at the president from the rooftop wouldn't really make its way to the top of the bleachers.
No, it would not.
Right. And so then we start saying, okay, so wait a second. What is the line of sight from the rooftop? And so now I'm going to move over to the shooter cam. And the shooter cam is positioned on the roof of the building. I'm going to pull back. And this is the line of sight from the rooftop of American Glass, except we don't have the trees. So there's a tree blocking the northern snipers here. They do not have line of sight to the kid on the roof. The southern sniper team down here on this roof, these guys do. They do have line of sight to the kid. Okay? The kid on the roof doesn't get off a single shot, Clay. Not one.
That's actually not a real surprise.
Okay.
And this is actually hugely important too, because this has been a thing. Like a lot of people have asked for analysis. Like I think, and what most of us are working with right now is like Google Maps and the 3D version of that, which is nowhere near the same as this model. This is, I mean, most of us that wanted to know have been wondering if there was a way we could get there and walk the ground ourselves. That's the only way you really know. But this is amazing.
This is kind of the next best thing, I think, to being able to walk the ground.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Yes.
And they took all the stuff away. So even if we could get there tomorrow, all this stuff is gone. Right. The stuff is gone. It's just grass now. So this is really important. And the thing to understand is the way we did this is we aligned photographs. So we're using, it's called photogrammetry. By scaling the photographs to the Google Earth thing, we were able to place everything exactly where it was because we have the buildings. The thing that is the constant are the 3 buildings behind. And by lining up on the corners of the building and scaling everything exactly right, it just lines up. It's like magic. Everything just fits together. And I'm working obviously with professionals. I mean, the guys who are doing this, that are doing the bleachers and stuff like that, obviously this is not amateur hour. I mean, these guys I'm working with clearly know what they're doing. We've got multiple cameras here at the venue. This is the view from David Dutch. This is where David Dutch was located. This is his view. So again, you can see that from where he is, a shot at the president's head, if it missed, it's still descending. And the president's head doesn't appear to be as high as David Dutch. Then we have a camera where the guy in the white shorts took a tumble. This is his view. And what I want you to focus on here with me, Clay, if you would, is where the counter snipers are on the roof versus the guy in the white shorts. The counter snipers up on the roof, right? They're up here. Now imagine a shot that misses these guys and is coming right at you on this back row bleachers, right? Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Whoa! And it just misses you, but you feel it's still hypersonic, right? So you feel it go by and you're like, whoa, and it knocks you off the bleachers, okay?
Right. And well, also, if you pan back to where Crooks is supposed to be there, that's an almost impossible shot to take from Crooks's position. No, just with your view of the last victim there.
Okay, victim cam. Okay, let's go to my
yeah.
victim cam.
If you look back, yeah.
From here to the rooftop.
Yes. Yeah, if you look at the rooftop, that's the next person that where we were just at.
Oh, the white shorts. The white
yes,
shorts.
White shorts. Yes.
I got you. All right. So you're saying from here, there's
It's
no
almost
shot
impossible.
from the rooftop, right?
Yeah, you can't even take a shot from Crooks.
Right. So some
it's
people were
almost
saying,
impossible.
well, people were saying that there was no shot that traversed the back row. As a professional, let me show you something, and we're going to look to you for your analysis. And so, is there or is there not a kinetic event? Right. What I've tried to explain to people is, I don't need a whole bunch of people in the back row to get shot. What I need, right? So what I need is a kinetic event. If somebody gets their Coke knocked out of their hand, that's good enough for me, right? If a cup of Coke goes flying, that's a kinetic event. And what I'm looking for is a kinetic event. All right. I want to show you something that I call the big flinch. And I think this is evidence that there's something going down this row. You tell me what you think. I'm going to play this for you. It's called, I call it the big flinch. And at the same time, the guy in the white shorts is taking a tumble. So this is all happening, and then we see poof on the rail at the same time. This is one moment in time. Everybody here flinches. The guy in the white shorts takes a tumble, and we see a poof on the railing. And I'm looking at the poof on the railing and the guy going down, and I'm saying, the trajectory doesn't line up with the building, guys. The trajectory lines up with somebody shooting at the sniper. It's
Right.
This was, this is the first video that I came out with, and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, how is this not immediately apparent to people? This should be, this should be pretty easy to see. Let's take a look.
Something to said. Take a look what happened. See something to said. Take a look what happened. What happened? Take a look what happened. If you want to really see something to said, take a look what happened.
What you know about rolling down?
So I start out, I'm like, if the thing hit the railing and it causes this kinetic event down that whole back row.
No, it's extremely odd. The other thing I think that the audience has to remember is most people have never been shot at.
Right.
Or if they have been, it's been close enough they muzzle, gunfire, this scary thing and not really pay attention to the bullet. A bullet doesn't sound coming past you like you would think. It sounds like like a hypersonic crack. And even 3-4 feet away, most people do not know what that sounds like. So it would make sense if they're going to make like a flinching move. It's a noise they're not expecting, but they're not going to immediately think bullet either. So that very much fits with that. Something whizzing past loud, but not knowing it's a bullet. That very much fits with what I'm seeing there for flinching.
And we see the ballistic evidence on the corner of the railing. We see the puff of smoke, and the puff of smoke appears to be moving left to right. And
Yes.
if we follow that trajectory, takes us to the counter snipers on the northern roof, who appear to be aiming and turning right towards where the line is pointing in here. I mean, this is what we call corroborated evidence. The other thing I want you to notice is I want you to give everybody a wind estimate based on what you see here. I've already given mine publicly, and I'll repeat what I've said it is. Give me within plus or minus 2 miles an hour. What do you believe the wind speed is based on what you're seeing here with this flag?
Not knowing the weight of the flag, I'm going to guess 7 to 9.
And I said 10 to 12.
That's fair.
Assuming it's a pretty heavy flag because it's big.
Yeah.
All right,
It
so
is true. All right, I'll bounce mine up to 11 then.
all right, so I'm looking at a 10 to 12 mile an hour crosswind from the building, meaning if I'm on the rooftop or shooting from the window here, I've got maximum deflection. I'm at 90 degrees. The wind is blowing straight down that. Okay, maximum deflection is what saved his life. You and I both know that's one click. That's one click off. That's a third of an MOA. I don't know if you do MOA or you do that mil spec crap. I don't know mil spec, I know MOA. One click is a third of an MOA on my scope. That's it. That's in his eye. Whoever dialed their scope in, Tommy, was off by one click. And the wind took it downwind just enough to hit his ear and not his iris, not his pupil. And that's a one click. Clay, am I wrong? Am I right? Is it at 150 yards, one third away?
Yeah, we ran the math for mills in inches at a maximum of 2.5 inches and a minimum of 1.3 inches, depending on where you gauge the wind. Between 7 and 10.
So if it was you and you had the opportunity to take a spotter, you have one spotter to take.
Yep.
What's your adjustment? How much you're going to dial in after you missed and you hit the ear and the target's still there and he just turns his head?
I'm going to hold right side of his head.
So you'll hold, but if you had the luxury of dialing, one click, two clicks?
One click, tops.
One click.
Yeah. One, maybe two. Yeah.
So that was the difference between the president living and dying, is whoever picked up that rifle, the scope was off by one. That's not even one MOA. That's a third of an MOA. You're talking minor adjustment at that distance. It's only about 150 yards. The other thing that's really important here is that I start calculating the crack thump distance from the podium to the alleged shooter. And the crack thump works out to 0.22 seconds. And the problem is that at 3,000 feet per second or 3,100 feet per second, typical 223, 5.56 type ammo, the crack thump doesn't reach to the shooter. In order to make the crack thump reach to the shooter, we've got to have ammo coming out of an AR-15 at 2,400 feet per second, which is really slow. That's like a super heavy round with not a lot of powder behind it. There's not a lot of commercially available 2,400 foot per second 223 stuff. Most stuff 2,850, 3,000, 3,100. Chris Martinson did his calculations at 3,106, I think. And when I ran them at an average muzzle velocity of 3,000, assuming it leaves the gun at 3,100, arrives at the target at 2,900, rough and tough 3,000. The crack thump only takes me to the window, Clay, not to the kid on the roof.
That is very interesting.
Crack thump only reaches to the window, Clay, and not to the roof. And this is why it's so important to have accurate measurements. It's important to know that it's 472 feet to the shooter, right? And so this is where we start getting into some strange behavior by some strange people, which is like, well, why would other people say that the distance from the podium to the shooter is something other than what it is? So you've got other guys who are, leading their investigations or whatever, using my material, right? So you've got guys like Chris Martinson, who you may have had on the show, Tommy, and he put a video together using my video, right? So he's using my thing to count the shots and all that, to do the timing and do the audio. But the distance that he's telling everybody that it is from the shooter to the podium is wrong. And it happens to be wrong by exactly the amount that the distance is from the window to the shooter. Meaning it's 472 feet to the kid on the roof. It's 435 to the window. That's weird. Yeah, I'm sure it's just an honest mistake. All right, so let me show you, Clay, how I found the bad guys, because this gets kind of creepy and weird. So it appears we got somebody shooting at the counter snipers up on the rooftop. Our survival tactical friend tells us he's got it kind of firsthand through a buddy or whatever. They thought they were taking fire, man. Now I'm going to show you something that changes the whole story. Flips it upside down, inside out. Everything you were told is horseshit, and you're going to see why right now. And so I want you guys to basically forget everything you've been told, because what I'm about to show you changes the entire story top to bottom. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this with you, and this is going to blow your mind. Clay, what do you know about 300 blackout, subsonic, suppressed?
I love it. It's a great choice. It's very hard to detect. Even without a suppressor, it's actually very quiet. Out of a suppressor, it's almost Hollywood. I mean, almost very close to Hollywood quiet. No flash. It was built to be around basically for killing people inside of room distances. But I also know that people as far as Oregon actually hunt elk with 300 blackout subs, which sounds crazy, but they do it.
High power, yeah, not subsonic, but
Actually, I bet they're using subs because it's got enough.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
With that
Wow.
220 grain bullet, it's got enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed it, but I'm reliably informed.
All right, we're going to come back to it in a second. I just wanted to confirm that you're familiar with the characteristics of a subsonic 300 blackout shot from a suppressed weapon. And the reason that this is so pivotal is because it leaves very little sonic signature downrange. It's traveling downrange at about 950 feet per second, which is just subsonic, but it's a 200 grain projectile compared to a 55 grain projectile. 55 grains going 3,000 feet per second absolutely ruins your day. But 200 grains going 1,000 feet per second is not a badminton shuttlecock. It will blow your brains out. It is a hell of a thing to get hit with. And it's silent. It doesn't make a crack. It's game changing. The video that I made counting the shots at the podium was wrong. I shouldn't say it was wrong. It was counting the audible gunshots. But I was on Brett Weinstein's Dark Horse podcast a week ago, and Brett said something. He says, hey, when that puff of smoke comes up, we hear the gunshot at the same exact moment. Shouldn't there have been a delay? Oh, man. We got simultaneous gunfire, and one of them is subsonic, bro. And I found them. I found the subsonic shooter. I found a shooter with a suppressed 300 blackout subsonic. And now I'm going to show them to you and everybody watching the podcast. Here we go.
I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
Oh, fuck.
What I did was I slowed the video down to 10%.
Let me hear that again.
Dude, I got him dead to rights. I got him dead to rights.
I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
Oh, shit.
Watch the chart. Watch the chart. You see them. You see it. You see them in Audacity. I'm running them through the scope. You see it on the scope. It's an instant. It's a vertical line. There's no buildup. And they're all the same, give or take. All right? Watch the little chart in the right, and you'll see. It's not my imagination. Watch.
Oh, shit. I know that sound like I know the voice of my own children. That's a suppressed gunshot. And more than likely something like a 300 blackout. Here's an important point for talking about like the counter snipers or having suppressors, wherever kind of. Yes, but they were going to be using supersonic rounds. There's no way that the counter snipers were up there with subs, because subs they're harder to shoot,
right.
they're less reliable.
Absolutely.
Blah, blah, blah.
Nobody's suggesting that the counter snipers have
I just
subsonic.
say that it's going to come up.
Yeah.
That was subsonic rounds out of a suppressor.
Absolutely. And now I'm going to show you where he is, and you're going to get goosebumps, and you're going to offer to protect me because I'm in deep shit here, bro. Watch.
Make yourself small.
All right. So the first thing you need to notice here, the president is still talking. We've heard gunfire, but nobody else has. Here's what's happening, Clay. There's a shooter taking shots at the Southern sniper team right now, trying to drop these guys silently. Nobody even knows they're taking fire except for them and the guys on their frequency. You go, Tommy, we're taking fire here, bro. He's like, what? It's subsonic, man. Something just whizzed past us. Have you been downrange from subsonic shit? What's that like?
No.
No. All right.
No.
You and I may need to go meet out in the deserts of Texas in a week or three, and we'll set some shit up with some cameras, and Tommy will make sure we don't get in too much trouble. All right. Let me continue to play this. The point that's important here is we are hearing gunfire as the president is still speaking, and no one knows this except the counter sniper team. They know they're taking fire. Somebody's shooting at them right now. But nobody on stage knows. Trump's team doesn't know. His security does not know. You hear him still yakking in the background. Listen closely. Listen, he's talking, and this guy's still shooting. That was a shot.
Make yourself small, bro. I don't know what's going on.
Watch up top. Watch up top. 1, 2. Splat. Splat. Watch again. Up top. Here it comes. Bam. He's gone. That's it.
What?
He's gone. He is gone.
What the?
All right. So what is happening here?
What the
What's
fuck?
happening here is the shooter is shooting a silenced weapon at the guys on the south building. They're taking fire. They are on their microphones talking to one another. There's 4 of them, 2 on one, 2 on the other building. They're communicating with us. Hey, Mikey, we're taking fire. You got it? They're on the scope, Clay. They've told the kid on the roof, we will take out the snipers. As soon as the snipers are down, we will tell you, open fire on the target, the president. Guy on the roof is supposed to shoot the president. We will take out the snipers. They're shooting into a 12-mile-an-hour crosswind with maximum deflection with a subsonic fatty.
Mm-hmm.
A subsonic fatty is going to get so deflected more than a 3,000 foot per second round. This thing's only going 900, and it's a fat pig, right? There's a big
Right.
fat 3.0, right?
Yeah, it's a 308 craned into a 5.56 case, which means its ballistic coefficient is shit.
Well, it's big. It's a big
Yeah,
fat.
it's big, but yeah,
Compared
it's
to
not
the
it's
little
not a-
teeny tiny 223, doesn't have much for the wind to catch. This is
Right.
twice the size of the 223, lot more windage. Even though it's nice ballistically, it's got nice ballistic characteristics, it still gets hit by the wind.
Right.
And the wind is going to deflect this thing because it's moving so slow. It's going 950, not 3,000.
Well,
The wind has got much more opportunity.
my point, especially for a 300 blackhat, is you cannot get the ELD shape, like the classic boat tail shape as well in a blackout because you're trying to cram mass. So you're going to have more of a rounded bullet for a sub. It's going to be worse in the wind than even a 308 bullet would be of a 175.
I got some here. I'll hold them up in a second. I got a couple here. I'll show the audience. All right. So what we're looking at again is silenced gunfire at the Southern counter sniper team as the president is speaking, and no one is aware of this other than the counter snipers. They are on their scope, and the Southern team now, the second the kid on the roof lifts his head up, he's gone. He never gets a shot off, Clay. He doesn't get off a shot. The Southern sniper team knows they're getting a shot at here. The guy is taking multiple shots, and he's not shooting at the president. He's shooting at the Southern snipers. The kid on the roof is told, stay down until we tell you snipers are down. Take your shot. And the kid can't sit still, and he lifts his head up because multiple shots are going down range. 10 shots. There's 10 silent shots, or 8, or, there's a number of them before the kid gets capped. The kid is capped. The president is still talking. The counter snipers, I think the standard issue for the Secret Service is 300 Winchester mag in an Accuracy International with a 700 Remington long and a Schmidt and Bender scope. It's a nice setup with the Wilcox Raptor. So if that's a 300 Winchester mag at 150 yards, I mean, that's there and done in nothing. The second that kid put his head up to see what was going on, it was over. And that's the shot. Let's take a look one more time. The kid is down before any shots are taken that anybody's aware of. And I'll show you where the real shots are coming from, because the cracked thump never reached to the roof, Clay. It never reached to the kid. And I don't think the kid took any shots. And now I'm going to show you how we know the kid took no shots. Watch.
What you know about rolling down? I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
Make yourself small, bro. I don't know what's going on.
All right, here comes the shot that's going to cap the shooter. Comes across from the top, right below the water tower. Here it comes. Counter sniper said, that's enough of that shit. Shouldn't have lifted your head, kid. See ya. And he's done. The kid on the roof is now dead. Now, everybody thinks it's over. It's not over. 3 shots came from that window, Clay. And 5 came from a nearby tree because the crack thump is different. I got a .22 on the first 3 shots. I got a .212 on the other 5. Look at the window, Clay. Who's that? Who's that, Clay? Why do I see muzzle flash in a window in the American Glass building, Clay? At the same time, I hear silenced gunfire. What is that, Clay? That is an assassin, my friend. And the problem is that assassin is in a Secret Service uniform. And that's why I've got a big problem, my friend. This is a sniper. This is a killer in uniform in that window. You were told an operator went to the roof. You were told he checked on the shooter and the shooter pointed his gun at him, and in descending, he cut his hand. No, that's the shooter who cut his hand because he was picking up his brass and there was glass all over the floor. The shooter is the guy who cut his hand, Clay. There was blood in the bathroom. Somebody cut their hand. He went to the roof to check on the shooter. First thing I see a shooter, I draw my pistol and I fire in the air. Bang, 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 bang. I want everybody over here. Now, get the president down. Bang, bang, I'm going to shoot in the air. If I'm in uniform and I see a guy on the roof with a rifle?
Oh, yeah, or shoot the
I'm
body.
on my radio. We got a shooter. Bang, bang, bang. Well, I'll call in officer down. Get everybody over here. He cuts his hand and he goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's completely illogical. No, that's completely.
That's the shooter. All right, so that's the shooter. I'm going to show you who he is in a minute. I'm going to show you who my number one suspect is, who I think may be suspect number one that needs to be interrogated. I mean, it is clear here something is happening in that window. I mean, if you were on counter sniper detail for the president and you saw this in your scope and you're taking fire, are you putting one in that window? Yes or no, sir?
The only thing that can stop me from doing that is if I really believe that friendlies were in that building. Still, if I'm protecting the president, I feel like we're taking fire. I'm probably going to plug that hole with like everything I got in my magazine. You know, straight up. It would be hard to not think that you're taking fire or the president's taking fire from that spot. So yeah.
Ballistically, let me show you how this lines up ballistically. All right, so why is this window so important? And this is going to give you the goosebumps. The reason this window is so important is because it is the perfect match for the moron on the roof. How's that for a trajectory match? How do you like that?
I've always wondered what episode was going to get me killed.
It's this one.
I thought it was COVID. I thought it was COVID, maybe like Nord Stream.
Yeah, now you know I was in disguise. Yeah, now you know I was in disguise for so long.
Those
I
are
was
great.
incognito. I was incognito for a long time, Clay, and I took the costume off just 90 days ago, and now I'm wishing I was back in costume.
I bet. Those are both great because they're within like 1 degree of the shooter.
Right.
So yeah, ballistic match. Yeah.
And now you got an elevating shot, bro. You got an elevating shot instead of a descending shot. If you're on the roof, it's going to end up in the first row of the bleachers. But if you're in the window, shooting up at his head, it ends up in the top row of the bleachers.
Correct, because there's actually a little bit of slope down on the ground there. Right.
3 feet, 3 feet of drop. Yep, 3 feet of ground of grade. It's a 3 foot grade decrease. You're correct, right?
Yep. Okay.
Right, so now, how do you like that alignment from where the rooftop kid is to that window right below? How do you like that alignment, huh?
Oh wow.
Yeah. All right, so we appear to have a shooter in the window of American Glass. Now, I believe we have a suspect, and I want to show you who I believe the suspect is, and I'll see if I can explain why I feel this way. You guys may disagree with me, but I may be wrong, and this guy may be absolutely the greatest guy ever, and he's really trying to help everybody. But if it was me, and I just walked in this building, and I'm like, who was in the building? And why is he the only guy without a tactical helmet on? And does his Secret Service patch look the same as all the other Secret Service patches? Because you know what's weird? This wasn't on the Secret Service map. This was outside of their zone. This wasn't Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3. This is outside of their zone. So what the hell are they doing? Why
this looks like some Wish.com kit, but yeah. I will be like totally honest. Yeah.
All right. So now when we look at the diagrams and the maps and everything, and we say, so you guys had mapped out this whole thing, and you've got, let me see if I can show you guys what it looked like, what they were briefed with. So they were briefed with a diagram of the premises. And they said, you know, yeah, this is it. Hang on, let me show this. This is pretty wild. Most people haven't seen this. So this is from Beaver County, PA, and this was sort of like the pre-brief, pre-planning document, right? And so look at this. So this is showing who's covering which area, right? So yellow is Beaver ESU, blue is Beaver ESU, and green is Beaver or Butler ESU. And then it has the name of somebody. So who's going to be responsible here? Who's going to be, okay, whatever. We got the yellow, the blue, and the green on the thing. Okay, then we go down here and we see that they've got these different areas defined. Okay, so the runway, there's a little runway there. They've got a runway. That's area 5. They got a bunch of buildings or homes here. That's area 7. Area 3, area 4. We know we've got a counter sniper right here on top of this building here in area 4. And then we've got the stage. The main stage is in area 2. But there's nothing to the left of there. It's kind of like not even on the map, right? This is another counter sniper location that was recently disclosed. So this is the Secret Service counter sniper. And they show a couple of photos from this location that will allow us now to geolocate this. So now that we see this is near this, we can show you exactly where this is. So stay tuned and we'll show you where this rifle was located. Okay, so we have this information. But the idea here is that the area where the American glass is not, that's off here to the left. It's like not even on the map. It's not covered. So if it's not covered, what are these guys doing there? Why is there a black SUV in the parking lot and guys in Secret Service costumes inside the building? Makes it pretty easy to blend in when everybody shows up. He's on the roof, guys, right above us. He's right above us on the roof. I feel like I'm watching a Batman movie. And the Joker just drove away in the school bus.
My hand is hurt. I must seek medical attention now. Wow, that's crazy.
Tommy, what do you think?
I haven't seen a lot of these videos. I thought I had seen most of them. The one you were showing earlier, when the bullet goes across from right to left. But earlier in that video, you see the cop. He's not just walking. He's jogging before even I think the shots are fired, and then like around the time the bullet goes over the top, he's already talking in his radio. But you can still hear Trump talking. So that guy was also aware. So this isn't just an over.
Let me show you the feed.
Yeah.
Let me show you guys just the audacity thing, because the video moves around so much. You saw the muzzle flash in the window. So obviously there's muzzle flash in the window. This is the key, though. The key is the audio analysis, because you see it. It's clear as day. Watch what happens here. There's a 10%, 1/10 speed. Okay. And you see the pattern, right? You see the audio, and you don't see anything like what you're about to see for some time. Chick rides by on the horse. You guys hear it and see it at the same time?
Then the cop's starting to move. By the way, he's at the base of the water tower right now.
All right, so the cop starts to move, but the key thing is here, whether the cop is aware or not, we're picking up on things that nobody's aware of. Everybody's watched this video. It's on TV now. By playing it at 10% speed, 1/10 of normal speed, we're able to see the silenced rapport from the gun. The downrange is making nothing. They don't even, they barely are aware they're being shot. The president doesn't know. President's detail doesn't know. The Secret Service snipers up on the roof are taking fire. They're on the scope. They got to neutralize the threat. They don't even have time to say, get the president down. Like, Mikey, we're just going to take one in the shoulder, bro. Dump him. Dump him. Kid sticks his head up that much. And that's all. Dude, it's only a 150-yard shot. Come on. That's nothing. With a 300 Winchester mag, they're all going in the same hole. You and I both know that.
Yeah, you physically can't miss. Yeah, that's
come on. 300 Win mag at 150 yards are all going in the same hole. Not even close.
Right. Yeah, it's 190 grain bullet at over 3,000 feet per second. Yeah, that's
not even close, right? They're all going in, right? You're going to be within one MOA at 150 yards.
Easily.
Right. So there's no room for error here. This kid pokes his head up, it's over. And all these guys do all day is practice. That looks like 10 knots. That's all they do. And they're shooting from a cold barrel. This is what these guys do. It's the only thing they do. They shoot from a cold barrel. They've got to look at the wind. They happen to have a flag right over the president. And they dial it in and they don't screw up. They're not off by one click. They took him right here. Enters the left temple, came out of the right neck. I don't think they didn't hit the skull. The only place it hits the skull was so close to the temple. This is like paper. Right? You crush this with a back fist. You don't need a bullet. This is like paper right here. They took him right above the eye and it came out here. I think it was all soft tissue. I think they blew the brains is what we see flying out of the hole. I think the hydrostatic scrambles his brains, and I think that's what's leaving. It's not hair. I don't think he got brain bucketed. I think we see the exit wound right here. I think it missed the skull. I think it just came in, did a pierce, scrambles the brains, and everything came flying out the back. Some hot cherry pie. All right, so let's take a look again at the visualization of the silenced shots. Yeah, here comes two of them.
Make yourself small, bro. I don't know what's going on.
That's one. Oh, he's dead. That's the shot that just killed the kid. You hear the splat. Here, let me show you this. You hear the splat. This is the shot that kills the kid. That's it. You hear his head explode?
Small, bro. I don't
Listen.
know what's going on.
Here it comes. Head. That's the round that hit the kid in the skull. It sounds different, and we see the thing come across the screen, and you hear his head. This is his head exploding right here. Here we go. Right there. This is the kid's head getting popped. That's it. That's the sound of death. Silent shot. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here comes more shots. Everybody thinks it's over. He's going to take another. There's one. Here comes another. Here comes another shot. And now it comes to an end.
Get down, guys. Get down. Yeah, just get down.
All right, so the essence of it here is that as the president is speaking, the counter snipers on the southern building appear to be taking subsonic suppressed gunfire. They realize it. They know what's happening. They realize they're taking gunfire. They get on scope, and they then eliminate the threat that they think is the threat, but that's the kid on the roof. Here comes another silent shot coming right now. Here it comes. Here it comes.
What's going on?
Here it comes. Kid's dead. That's it. Kid's over. So that number of silenced subsonic, I believe 300 blackout, it's what you would use, it's what I would use. Those shots are going at the southern snipers. They drop the kid on the roof. The second he pokes his head up, he's gone. That's it. He's out of the game now. Now the guy in the room below him realizes his primary shooter up above him is down. So he picks up the AR and he takes 3 shots, and one of them clips the president's ear. But the next 5 shots are not from this room. The crack thump is different when measured from the podium. Distinctly different. So 0.22 versus 0.212. The second set of shots are coming from a tree nearby, but it's not there. The second 5 loud shots are coming from a tree. And this guy keeps shooting subsonic. He takes 3 shots with an AR, or there's 2 guys in the room, one with the subsonic and one with the AR. But it seems that they probably had the guy on the roof lay low, stay low, will tell you when the snipers are down. As soon as they're down, you're going to go take your shot. They didn't count on missing this many times, and they didn't count on him sticking his head up to see what's going on and dying. He sticks his head up to see, are they down yet? I guess not, and he dies. Okay?
Many
Now,
such cases actually in history.
right?
Yeah.
And now the guy below him is like, shit, now what? He picks up the AR, gets on and takes 3 shots, one of which hits the president in the ear. Puts it back down, sees the president is down, goes back to the silenced weapon, and keeps shooting. He's still shooting as they're shuffling the president off the stage. He's still shooting. And you don't hear it at the podium. This is a whole different story, bro. This is a whole different story. And you see it on the chart. You see it in Audacity. Look, here it comes. That's a shot right there. That's him. Though the crack thump for those 3 shots at 3,000 feet per second average goes to that window. What more do you want from me? If the crack thump measured at the podium reaches to that window, and we see muzzle flash coming from that window, not at this moment, but at another moment, I think we got a shooter in the window, Clay. I mean, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think I got some evidence, dude.
Well, I will, but that's not an insult for me. So.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, if we've got multiple shooters, that's a conspiracy, right? I mean, that's not a dirty word if there's multiple shooters.
Right. No, that's crazy, but it's completely plausible. Can we go back to your your model. Do you have a model from inside the window yet? Looking
Yes.
at
You
the
want to see a
podium?
camera?
Yes.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's share this, and we'll switch over to the shooter cam.
Feels like enemy of the state.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
move the angle.
Dude, this is where we're at, man. This is what we're doing. All right, let me see. I've got an updated model from my guy now, so I'm going to load the updated model. Let's see if the thing crashes on me or what happens. Bear with me one sec. All right, it looks okay. All right, here we go. Sharing the screen. Okay. Bear with me one second here. There we go. All right. In order to zoom in on the location, I need to go up here, open my nodes. Now I've got all my locations. So I've got a building window camera now, thanks to crowdsourcing the project. And from the building window camera, this is the view. So this is placed at the window of the building, and this is the perspective. And,
oh wow.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm taking an important point from this. All right, so this is it's at 5 foot 6 feet in the air. So this is a guy standing.
Correct.
If he had to make the emergency shot, like everything went wrong, he's got to become the shooter all of a sudden. He's got to take a standing shot then, because otherwise, if he's down in a stable position like kneeling or prone, he can't see.
No,
He's
there's
got to
no
take a
kneeling or
standing
prone.
shot, which alleviates the problem of how did the professional miss. The answer is he missed because he was rushed and he had to take a less than stable shot, and he got close.
And look at where the victims are compared to the podium. The victims are in the far back corner, right? So you see where the podium is, and you see that back corner, right? So we've got, oh, wait, hang on a sec. I want to be building cam. Here we go. So the victims are back in this back corner of the bleachers back there.
Mm-hmm.
The wind is blowing right to left. He's shooting at the president, and the bullets are ending up in the back corner exactly as you and I would expect, with a 12-mile-an-hour crosswind blowing right to left. I mean, that's on the money. That's where they're going to go. If you're going to miss left, they're going in the corner. Look at it. It's perfect. It's exactly right. They're going to go, and now make sure you guys understand you're seeing two different railings here. Let me show, make sure you guys understand this. Hang on. I'm going to go to the default camera.
Hold on. That is on TV right now. What's going on?
I'm playing Minecraft with him.
You need like 20 minutes. Sorry, I've got a helper helping me.
I love it. I love it.
Give daddy like 20 minutes.
Need all the assistance we can get. Next generation of investigative.
He wants to be a part of the new Warren Commission.
I get it. All right, so here's what we got, bro. Look at this. I'm lining up the president with the window and the bleachers, just like you want. There you go. All right, so there's the window. There's the president's head.
Oh.
Okay. And it's going to end up, the wind is blowing it this way. The wind is blowing it towards the bleachers, away from the president's head. Okay? Dude, he's got the shots, right? Now, is that one window, or is he over here at this window? I think he's over here at this window.
That makes a lot more sense, considering,
I agree.
Yeah, the wind trajectory, yeah.
Okay, and now look how much sense that makes with the hydraulic lines going down. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the hydraulic lines, Tommy. Where's the hydraulic lines compared to the window in the president's head?
Not there.
It's right there, dude. It's right there. If you miss the president's head, you're going to hit the hydraulic. The crane is right in the line of fire here. And we know now the kid's dead. The kid on the roof is down. He's got nothing. This is the line of fire. Now look where the corner is in the railing here in the bleachers. All right, so now when you line up this corner here, I'm looking at the corner underneath the crane, and I'm trying to line up that corner with the window. Hang on. Oh, I hate when I do this. Hang on.
Good.
All right, forgive me, guys.
You're good.
I gotta flip cameras again. All right, so we've been lining this stuff up, and yeah. It's that window right there. It's that window. I mean, come on. Here is the view from the building again of the president. This is what he's seeing from his perspective. Is that the bullets miss the president? They curve right into the back corner. They hit David Dutch. They hit Copenhagen. They hit the hydraulics. But that's not the shot that hits the rail. The shot that hit the rail came down the back bleacher row and was a shot intended for the other sniper team. So we've got two shooters shooting at the counter snipers, Clay. One in the trees is shooting at the northern team. The other, with the silence 300 blackout, is shooting at the southern team. And the only reason, guys, I keep saying 300 silence subsonic blackout silence, that's the most common thing you're going to find in this type of a scenario. 150-yard shot, no sonic signature downrange, and very little sonic signature uprange. Clay, do you disagree with that? Do you think there's another round we should be looking for in this type of scenario other than 300 blackout subsonic suppressed?
I do, but only if you can see that they knew there was going to be a ballistic analysis after this. And this also accounts for the fact they missed so badly. There are now 5.56 guns that will cycle subsonic ammunition. And if you look at subsonic 5.56, it's the wind just, absolutely plays hell with it. It's a terrible round to suppress. It's got, absolutely horrible ballistics.
So it could be either. So we could be looking at a subsonic suppressed 223.
Yes.
Then that would mean that the guy has two AR-15s if he's taking those first three shots, because he's got one that's suppressed and subsonic, and then another one he's just letting rip because we hear bang, bang, bang from the same.
I'm saying even the guy in the trees that goes to suppress the snipers in the first place could be using something. That would explain why he missed, because that's it's a terrible round.
But do you think it's a reasonable? So in other words, if pros were hired to carry this out and they didn't want to be caught, and the target's 145 yards down range, is 300 blackout subsonic suppressed a reasonable way to go in the scenario?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would be my choice.
Right. So I felt the same way. And so I use that as a straw man. Now, if in fact they tell us that they found, it's weird, we found these subsonic 223 casings in the room down, well, then, then it's not 300 blackout, it's subsonic 223. Right. But until there's evidence otherwise, I'm going to go with the 300 blackout subsonic, because that's kind of a standard that we're both familiar with. We can calculate trajectories with that thing, right? So we can work with it. Everything else is kind of a wild card. And until there's other evidence, this seems to be the most likely scenario, given what we're witnessing. That's my take. I think you're saying pretty much the same thing.
No, it's a very reasonable take. I had not seen a couple of videos that you showed us today, as well as those. Those are subsonic gunshots. Like, I haven't received a lot of subsonics because that's not something that was fought with for most of my war, but I've been around it enough, and had people shoot in front of me, not at me. Those were subsonic gunshots. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
So what are your thoughts, man? This is a pretty major
oh yeah, dude, that's mind blowing. That is absolutely mind blowing. One, the 3D modeling is huge. That puts me in a perspective that I have not been able to have before, having not been able to walk the ground there. The trees also, in the way that you guys have modeled that up, if you put me back there in a ghillie suit 15 feet out there, you're never going to see me. I can shoot all day and you're never going to see it. That depth of foliage is going to be like the world's best camouflage, as well as most police or LE snipers are not going to really know what to look for at that depth either. It's a different mentality from military guys. So yeah, that's entirely that opens up entirely new possibilities. And then also, the window downstairs, it could be your theory leaking out or somebody else's, but I've seen that theory as well as the video fast of the muzzle flash, which is what it looks like to me too. It looks like muzzle flash, but all that put together, especially with the modeling, makes that so much more plausible, especially the elevation gain, as well as if we're saying the kid got shot early and he had to improvise, that makes so much more sense for the misses.
The other thing is, most people who were looking at it, there was one person, I think Mike Adams, said he thought he detected silenced gunfire. I was like, yeah, there's like 14 rounds of it though, bro. It's not one shot. There's a whole bunch of it. It's like, so yes, but, and there's other people who are saying, well, we see muzzle flash in the window, but there's no gunfire at that moment. That's not true. Nobody has realized until this moment, or last night on my podcast, that no, there's another shooter shooting a suppressed weapon, and they're shooting a suppressed weapon with subsonic ammo. Nobody knows except the guy's getting shot at. Right. That's why they shoot the kid in the head before he gets a shot off. Now the guy downstairs has to improvise.
Right.
Picks up the loud gun, bang, 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 and hits the president in the ear. President goes down, he goes back to the silenced gun. They think they've got the shooter down. And, boy, this is goosebumps. They've got a radio. They know when the call is shooter is down. The call is shooter is down, shooter is down. He goes back to the silenced weapon. They're still shooting at the president as he's going to the car, Clay. They're shuffling the president off to the car. This guy's still shooting. We've got it in the audio, in the Audacity. After what everybody thinks is the final shot, there's more silenced gunfire still coming. And then the guy's like, yeah, the shooter must be around here somewhere, guys. And he disappears, and dude, the shooter's in uniform, bro. Shooter's in uniform. What do you think of that? Now what do we do?
Start relooking our theories for one. That's no, I mean, I'm trying to find holes in the theory, because we're here, but
it's ballistic, man. I don't know Butler, PA. I didn't know there was a water tower. Do you know the whole water tower story? You know this thing? A whole bunch of eyewitnesses say the sharpshooter shot the guy in the water tower.
Yeah,
what?
First episode we did about this. Yeah, you have all those people going, yeah, they shot the guy, and yeah, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Clay, we got an eyewitness. Three of them. Three eyewitnesses. Totally different people. Listen to this.
Sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here.
What you know about rolling?
Like, water tower? What the hell is she talking about, water tower? Oh shit, there's a water tower right there. What? What do you mean there's a water tower right there and it's outside the zone, but it's got Overwatch over the whole damn thing? What are you guys, out of your minds? You didn't include this in the map? This wasn't on your threat map? This isn't in your zone? Well, here's the first thing I figured out. The kid on the roof doesn't have line of sight to the northern snipers. There's a tree in the way.
Right.
That's why they don't shoot him. So I figured this out the first day. I go into Google Earth. I'm like, well, that's why there's a tree in the way, right? So obviously this is why these guys are looking in the scope and they're like, what the hell? They're hearing on the radio, hey, we got a guy up on the roof over there. And like, we don't have line of sight. We can't see him. They got a tree in the way. The southern guys on the other rooftop are looking, and the second the kid pokes his head up, he's down. That's it. It's over. He doesn't get off a shot. I know that because of the crack thump. There's no crack thump that reaches to the kid. And then the lady says they shot the guy on the water tower. I'm like, they shot the guy on the water tower? What the hell? Holy moly. You telling me they had some lunatic up in the water? Whoa, look at the line of sight to backstage from up there. Not to the podium, but to backstage. And the reason is there's a jumbotron between the podium and the stage. But the backstage shot and the shots at the snipers are clear from here. You got a nice shot, take the snipers out. You got a nice shot to take the president out as he's going to the car. as he's waving to everybody, fight, 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 they're still shooting. But the call was already made. Shooter's down. As soon as he hears that, he picks up the silenced gun. They don't know he's there. Am I high, Clay? Or did we just break the biggest cover-up in the history of this country?
Prank caller, prank.
Holy
No,
moly,
that's
bro.
that is absolutely insane, and way more insane than my original theory. But it makes perfectly logical sense. It does.
It's all ballistic based, and if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, I'm wrong. I will figure it out, right? I don't have I'm not pounding my fists and saying,
Right.
absolutely, there's a guy here. Absolutely. I'm saying the ballistic evidence is showing me different radiuses based on cracked thumb. One of the radiuses takes me to a tree. The other radius takes me to the building's window.
Right.
None of them take me to the kid on the roof. And I see the thing go flying across and I hear splat. I think that's the kid's head.
I think when you also back that up with I've been on a couple shows and I talk with LE guys and that have a lot of experience, and every one of them has said, not in my 20, 30 years of service have I seen the FBI washing a crime scene, which did look extremely weird to all of us. And I mean, it just adds up now. The suppressed gunshots, that's the one. That's the linchpin of this whole thing, and they're there, and it's a lot of new information to take in. But wow,
They're there audibly, they're there visibly. We see muzzle flash coming from the window. It's inside the building. This changes everything. The ballistics indicate there's no shots coming from the roof. I knew that long ago. This doesn't reach to the kid, reaches to the window. And lo and behold, way more gunfire than we thought.
Yeah, no kidding.
Way more gunfire.
Way more gunfire.
And the kid is down before anybody even knows. The kid's gone. And that's when all hell breaks loose, because the other guys are like, we just lost our primary shooter. He wasn't supposed to pick his head up until we plastered all 4 counter snipers.
Doesn't this also make it all the more interesting than the radio logs were conveniently wiped out in the computer hack attack? And so now we can never line up the radio data.
And they had a Global Hawk up there also. There was a drone in the air. There was a Global Hawk up there. Armed Global Hawk, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. There's no joke, bro. This is the cover-up of the century. And the reason, it was one thing in 1963. It's another thing to try it now, man.
That's one thing I keep thinking of. Sorry to interrupt. Is it just, all of this just makes me realize how much more doable it was in 63.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, we can do this. No one will ever know. But then you go, if they're doing it now, and then this is more speculation, not on hard ballistic state, but they know that whatever we're doing now was going to happen. So they didn't think they were truly going to get away with it. So did they just want him gone that bad that they were willing to let this happen?
No, because they kind of get away with it even when they don't get away with it. So an example would be the Las Vegas shooting. In the Las Vegas shooting, the narrative is nothing like what happened, right? So Stephen Paddock was the first guy to die that night. He has nothing to do with it. He thought he was taking people shooting in the desert the next day. He had nothing to do with it. But they create these narratives. So based on what I'm seeing here, I wouldn't be surprised if this Thomas Crooks kid died in a car accident the night before.
Yeah, probably.
Right? And that's where they're producing the body of the kid Thomas Crooks, got killed on his bicycle at 2 a.m. that night. And they got the kid in the morgue and they're like, it's this kid. It's this kid. All right. I'm not convinced Thomas Crooks has anything to do with this thing at all.
I think it's Uric.
It may be or it may not be. So here's where we go now. There's an organization within the State Department called the GEC. And the GEC's job is to sow discord and plant disinformation so people don't know which way is up. People don't know what's real, what's not real. And these characters exist on Twitter, on the internet. And many of these people have what appears to be a really legitimate CV. It really looks like they're a PhD or a guy who's this or a guy who's that. And they've got big followings on Twitter. And they work for the government. And these are people that sow discord. I'll give you an example. So one of them is George Webb. We have all kinds of evidence that George Webb is either an FBI undercover operative or a GEC contractor. And what that means is he gets paid by the State Department or the FBI to sow discord, to come up with a different narrative. I don't know if you guys remember the whole story of the Wuhan military games and COVID.
Yes.
He introduces a whole nother storyline that a bicyclist brought COVID to China. It's like a wild goose chase. It's the notion of a red herring. And you get a couple 100,000 people talking about some cyclist that goes to China with the virus. It has nothing to do with the story. But you can get 200,000-300,000 people to follow that wild goose chase, especially when CNN publishes the story. This is Operation Mockingbird meets the GEC. The government, with the Smith Modernization Act, said we can produce propaganda
on our own soil
if it's in the best interest of national security. If it's in the best interest of national security, it's okay. They consider the Las Vegas shooting national security because MBS requested that we keep it quiet. And if we alienate him and tell everybody, it will have an impact on the petrodollar. They may just jettison the petrodollar now that they've got the relationship with China and Russia that Joe Biden was fostering by disrespecting them. So he forced them to China and Russia. They cover this up. They consider the Las Vegas shooting national security. They consider COVID, and the real outbreak was bird flu. They consider that national security. So as soon as the stuff gets a national security label on it, Clay, all bets are off. You know about the state secrets thing. They can play the state secrets card in the courtroom and say, that's state secret.
Yeah, special.
The case is dismissed. It's like, what do you mean the case is dismissed?
Boston bombing, they did a special administrative
state secrets, man.
They can lock it all down. And what my theory is like if they knew this was going to happen, that there's going to be this weaponized autism retardation that we are doing, is one way you could do it is say, let's say it worked, Trump's dead. They were going to say it's Iran, and then I think what they were also going to say is, and we believe there's still a viable threat to President Joe Biden. So therefore, all this shit is. This is all sources and methods that we can't let the next copycat shooter know. And by the way, he used Twitter and cryptocurrency to facilitate this.
Right.
So I think they were going to take the clamp down of.
He had a bump stock too.
He had a bump stock and he was anti-trans. It's just everything all at once. And he sells ivermectin on the dark web to Russians. It's just I've never seen something like this. But I mean, really,
it's weird and it's kind of strange because when I first met Brett Weinstein at Dark Horse Podcast, we were talking about COVID and we were talking about this bird flu stuff and we're talking about 1918 Spanish flu and 1917 Spanish flu and some things. And again, having Asperger's, being on this autism spectrum is kind of different. It's kind of weird in that I have very little concern with what other people think about me. I was like, I really don't care. And I'm rather antisocial. Like I don't need much interaction with other people and I don't really cherish it or need it or anything. And if I'm wrong, I just make the adjustment. And I said, okay, well, it wasn't this, it was this.
Right.
That's science. That's kind of how we do science is
That's amazing, right?
We use a straw man hypothesis, which says, what does it appear that we're looking at right here? Like in the early days, man, I was really uncomfortable telling people I think we got a shooter in the tree. It sounds insane. And people are like, what, with a freaking climbing tree stand? Are you out of your mind? It's like, what the hell do you want me to tell you? The ballistics point to the tree.
Right.
If there was a fire tower there, I would tell you the ballistics point to the fire tower, but there's not a fire tower there. There's a tree. Again, it's like I'm using math and science to point to stuff.
What are you talking about?
Lo and behold, I keep finding eyewitnesses that keep producing guys coming out of trees.
When you talk about brilliant too for masking your signature for the average chucklehead in the narrative, shoot through those huge gaps in the water tower. That also provides you with some concealment from the counter snipers. I mean, it's brilliant. Use the obvious thing as a cover behind it. Brilliant.
Let me show you guys one more thing before we wrap up that I think Clay's going to appreciate this. Eric Prince put out a tweet right after the shooting. Did you ever get a chance to work at Blackwater? Were you ever
No,
with those?
I've been to their facility, but I've never been in Blackwater. No.
All right. So Eric Prince, founder of Blackwater, puts out a tweet, and his tweet was rather interesting in that it was super specific. And I'm going to share the tweet with you guys. I want you to see what he said. He says, hopefully after the tragedy in Butler, we can all recognize that unaccountable, bloated bureaucracies continue to fail us as Americans. And he's absolutely right. I mean, the FBI is a disaster, right, and all that. The Secret Service is a disaster. But he goes on in the second paragraph to start talking about 55 grain bullets, and he says the wind was 5 miles an hour, and it's absolutely not true. There's no way that's a 5 mile an hour wind. I know 5 mile an hour wind, that's not 5. So Eric's off here. But in the next paragraph, he gets super specific. In the third paragraph down, halfway through the paragraph, he says the only positive action was an apparent 488-yard shot by one U.S. Secret Service sniper, which dispatched the assassin, but after the assassin launched at least 5 rounds, wounding Donald Trump, killing and severely wounding others in the crowd, I think he meant to say. But he says it's a 488-yard shot. And that's pretty specific. 488 yards. I'm like, 488 yards, Eric? What the hell are you talking about, bro? So this is the founder of Blackwater. And so I'm like, well, what 488-yard shot? What the hell are you talking about? I thought the Southern snipers dispatched the shooter, right? They're the guys who took the kid's head off. What are you talking about, a 488-yard shot? Well, it turns out that there's two other sniper locations. One we just saw a minute ago inside the building. It had like a ghillie net on top of it. And then there's another secret sniper location that they don't let people know about. And I'm going to show you guys where the secret sniper was. So the secret sniper was down here. Let's take a look. And this is down the barrel of an Accuracy International 300 Winchester mag with a Wilcox Raptor hanging off the left side, right? That's your infrared laser, right? And this is aiming towards the perp on the roof. The perp on the roof can be seen up here in the red box. There's a little green dot. I'm going to zoom in on this. Hang on. Take you up here. There's your perp. That's his dead body right there in the green. Okay, so your perp is here in the red box. Inside the red box is a little green dot, and that's the body of the dead kid. And then off to the left, this is all the police guys, Secret Service guys, and their camo fatigues, whatever, their BDUs, on the roof, monkeying around, doing whatever they're doing. Here's the kid. All right, so this is his line, his perspective from his perch. So this is where this guy is located. And I'm looking at this in Google Earth and I'm saying, well, that's not 488 yards. That's like, I don't know, 415, 4.25. That ain't 488. So what the hell's Eric Prince talking about? 488-yard shot, Eric. Who's got a 488-yard shot? There's only one thing in the venue that lines up at 488 yards, Eric. And that's the water tower, bro. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. The 488-yard shot was from the secret sniper location to the water tower. It's not 489, it's not 485. It is exactly 488 yards to the water tower from the secret sniper location. The guys on the south building took out the kid on the roof. The snipers here on the roof of this building took out the shooter on the water tower. That's the last loud shot you hear, and we only hear the crack. We don't hear the thump. We're 300 yards down range. We don't hear the thump. And there's a whole bunch of people in the way, and all the people are screaming. The thump gets lost in the wash. But we hear the crack. And the lady said, sharpshooter shot the guy in the water tower. I got 3 different eyewitnesses saying that. And I got a 911 dispatch saying, shooter towards the water tower. To the water tower. So if 911's mentioning it, I got 3 eyewitnesses mentioning it, and Eric Prince is telling us that there was a 488-yard shot, and the only thing here that's 488 yards is from the water tower to the secret snipers. There's no other 488-yard anything here. Pretty wild stuff, Clay.
That is wild.
Now that's a nice shot. That's a nice shot with a cold barrel. You got a what's the angle of the dangle here? He's got a crosswind coming off his left quarter, right? He's got to dial in a little bit of left wind, and it's an ascending shot. It's a 450 foot tall water tower, right? Something. I mean, I don't think it's that tall. No, it can't be 400 feet, but it's
100 feet or something. 100
yeah,
feet.
I mean, it's 100 feet off the ground. So it's a rising shot. He's got left wind and a cold barrel. He gets 1 shot at this. That's a nice shot. That's a nice shot. That's a nice shot. 1 shot and he's down. And it was over. But the guy in the tree line got away. The guy that was shooting at the snipers on the northern roof and the shot goes down the bleacher line, that guy got away. There's another guy in another tree. So it turns out that right here, these trees are where the other crack thump measures to. These trees. I forget which one it is, but it's one of these 2 trees. And the other crack thump measures to here. And we have an eyewitness telling us she believes she saw the police taking a guy out of the tree into custody right here. And that guy's about 6'2" and has a mohawk. Okay, so I think there was a shooter in this tree that they took into custody. They splattered this kid's brains. The shooter that was down here in the window is in uniform. And the guy that was out here in the woods shooting at the counter snipers, he disappears. He's up here in a tree somewhere. He ghosts out 2-3 a.m. He leaves. He's not found. And that's what I got for you, Clay. So if you want to go back over this stuff, like I know your head is spinning right now and you're like, whoa. It's like, whoa, the kid's dead before the shots even happen. It's like a whole different narrative.
Yeah, no, it is. No, it absolutely.
I'll step through it again with you next week. I mean, if you want to get back together again next week and say, all right, dude, we got to go through this 1 shot at a time. Let's break it down. I'm happy to do this with you. If you want to bring other guys that you've worked with that are similarly comfortable with ballistics and stuff, again, I got nothing to hide here. If you guys are telling me it's not this, it's that, I'm game, man. Let's figure this out together.
Dude, I'd be absolutely interested. You're right. This is a lot of new stuff to process. You had to process. I mean, it happened. It happened.
And it's it's the evidence. Yeah, it's not my opinion. Right. I'm not sharing my opinion. I'm layering the opinion on top based on what do I think I'm seeing here. But again, if you come back to me in a day or two and say, no, dude, this is what's happened. Tell us. I'm all ears. I want to hear from you. Does this hold water? Does it look like we've got silenced gunfire coming from the window of that building? We see muzzle flash. I think we're hearing it in Audacity. Or am am I completely out of my mind? I mean, there's somewhere in there is a
No, Exactly. The suppressed gunshots is the one that does it for me because like I said, I know exactly what that's, especially that caliber. I've been running suppressed 300 blackouts for a decade now. I was an early adopter. I know exactly what they sound like, and that's what they sound like.
This is subsonic 300 blackout right here. That's it. That's your culprit. No sound downrange. Very little sound. So much so that as many people that have watched this video, nobody picked up on it. One guy picked up on a thing, says he thinks he's. It's like, no, dude, you got to slow it down to 1/10 of the speed. Then it's readily apparent. And this changes everything. We've got a shooter in uniform in that building, Tommy. This changes everything.
The cover up almost negates the cover up. It's like, and by that I mean, if you were trying to figure out, some gangbanger getting iced by a rival gang, you'd maybe, if there was a video, maybe there's a street camera, but even that, it would be, whatever, state funded, public lawyers just trying to find out what happened. The more you look at this, it's well, you have this guy, and this guy's hiding here, and you have a muzzle flash here, and this guy's the very fact that they went to great lengths kind of gives it away. Like, they're not doing that to kill me. They're coming up and making sure the podcast isn't. They're literally looking at Rumble going, he's not live, and they come and blow my head off. Like, with the fact that there's like intersecting lines and covered and silence and different, thumb cracks. That the very virtue of that fact, you're like, oh, who the fuck did this? This wasn't a couple dudes. Like, this is right.
That's exactly right. I told you when we first got together, I said, this is a continuum. At one end of the continuum, it's JFK 2.0. And at the other end of the continuum, it's Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris. It's, Columbine 2.0 and a trench coat mafia. And if a couple of yayos in Pennsylvania said, we'll take out the president, is that what this is? No, not if there's 5 guys with suppressed 300 blackout and there's a black SUV in the parking lot and a guy in a Secret Service costume. No. This is
they're gonna find like a fucking munition or something that's some like classified round. Be like, yeah, no, this is this is depleted. This is a carbon nanotube round. It's actually GPS guided. This kid was really right way. Like, it's gonna be some DARPA round. Like, this is amazing.
He's got a 412 DARPA. Like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah,
this is crazy. Now this is
we lost some of those last week in Pennsylvania.
This is just like high capacity rounds. These are those new rounds that actually look like birds and can loiter for 4 days and then turn into a round and shoot the president. It's really dark stuff, guys.
That'll be our next mass shooting. We'll do.
Actually, by the way, Tommy, how long did they keep Vegas locked down for? Like, I feel like it was like at least 2 weeks. They cleaned up this mess and we're gone. Like, where's the little, the flags with the bullet holes and like all the
next
stuff?
day? Yeah, I had a guest on my podcast. Jason and I do this podcast, and I think it was Monday night. We had a guest who went there Sunday, the day after the shooting, drives down to the Butler Fairgrounds. He's in his F-150, and he's filming. He's like, guys, there's nobody here.
No,
there's nobody here.
Nothing happened here.
And he's like, this is the strangest thing. He's like, dude, you'd think nothing happened here. There's no one here. Where's the ATF? Where's the FBI? Where's the sticks in the ground? Where's the ballistic sticks?
Yeah.
Nobody here.
Where's literally anything? Where's just like some police tape?
So he came on the podcast with his footage, and again, it's undeniable. The guy's driving around the place. They're like, holy mackerel.
But then it kind of, and this is not it. This is just more so. So it's undeniably well funded and orchestrated. How the fuck did he live?
The wind. Clay will tell you the same thing. 12-mile-an-hour crosswind is the only thing that saved his life.
You don't account for that when you're taking out VIP, like the next president, former president, billionaire. What?
It's so easy to miss, man. It's so easy to miss. Clay will tell you, dude. This is not easy.
You could back this. You could back this up one step too, Tommy, by saying again that it was not the intelligence community, but it was like some high ups at like the Democrat, DNC, or whatever, trying to get playing the second string, playing like
That's
the not quite pros.
That's right.
But like
That's
I'm,
right.
I'm leaning into that more and more. I think it was.
Exactly.
I think it makes me think of the meme of like Hitler's like, all right, we just betrayed Stalin. We're gonna invade the Soviet Union. If we all just act together and in unison and don't do it, no one do anything stupid, we can win this war. And Japan's like, I agree. I just bombed America. And he's like, you fucking what? Like, I just feel like that's what's going on. Is that they're looking at like how they're gonna the next pandemic, the next ballot drop, like it's gonna be perfect. And they're like, this guy just shot at they're like, is that our guy? Who the fuck is this?
I think Clay's
Somebody's
right,
like,
though.
I did it, boss, and they're like, you cocksucker. Like,
I think Clay's right though. If this was the best of the best,
over.
it wouldn't end it the way it did. Clearly, these were expendable assets.
yeah.
And maybe the guy in the building is the lone one that's not, but he's obviously not that good. And as Clay was pointing out, it's a standing shot.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not the guy you're relying on
But
to be primary.
if you're gonna go for it, you have to go all. They know there's gonna be evidence. They know no one's gonna buy it. It's probably gonna kick off a war. You have to have 10 shooters. You can't. If you're gonna go for it.
1, 2, 3.
I mean,
At least 3. At least
Five. I got 5.
So that's what makes me think is like that it was well orchestrated and well funded, but
Yes.
it wasn't from
Yes.
it
Dylan
wasn't from
Klebold,
it wasn't
Eric
from a
Harris.
consensus group in whatever power structure there is. There was a radical faction of the current power structure that was like, we're taking this in our own hands.
Well,
And the
this
ones
is what
at the
I'll leave
very
you with.
top are like, you fucking retards.
This is what you guys need to start to consider now. Let's say that there are people within our own government who are motivated to have, the ends justifies the means, right? So whatever they got to do, okay. But getting their hands dirty in it is not that appealing. They don't want any association with it. They'd love the outcome. But associating our people with it, this is too traceable. Is there anyone else out there that might also have the same set of interests for whom, if President Trump were to become president again, would end their gravy train?
Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan.
Oh, that's it. Well, okay. Well, let's start at the top. So you mentioned Ukraine. So now would Zelensky, for any reason, be stuck between a rock and a hard place if Trump were president again? What would happen to the gravy train of money and weapons and all the horse shit that Zelensky's been able to lather himself in? Wouldn't that end in about 12 hours after the inauguration? Wouldn't that be over?
Yeah.
So Zelensky goes back to being a comedian on TV 6 months after that because the money dries up and everybody in the country realizes the show's over.
Well, he's dead. He's not going anywhere. He's dead. That's over. He's fucking dead.
So you mean that Zelensky, who's been having Ukrainian soldiers and pilots train in the United States, you understand that just like the Vegas shooting, the Saudis, so Clay, we had a thing at Redstone Arsenal called OPM SANG, Office of Program Management for the Saudi Arabian National Guard. 240 people managing the training that the U.S. Army does, or the Pentagon does, with the Saudis to teach them how to use the shit that Boeing sells them. So Boeing sells them the Apaches, the H-6Is, right?
Yep.
But then it's the Army who says, okay, but you guys don't know how to use these things. You don't know how to fly them tactically. You don't know how to use them in battle. We will teach you how to do that the American way. But it's going to cost you $4.5 billion. All right. So you're going to pay us to teach you how to use this stuff. That's OPM SANG. We then bring Saudi pilots to America. Boeing has their helicopter factory in Mesa, Arizona.
Yep.
So they bring the Saudi pilots to Mesa and they teach them for like a 6-9 month year-long program in AH-6Is and Blackhawks and Apaches. And they're living in America. Then we have the Vegas shooting. We did the same thing with Ukraine. We started bringing the Ukrainian pilots to America to train them in the F-16s that were given them to fight against the Russians. Well, where are we going to train them? They train them in America. So they're bringing Ukrainian combatants to the United States to train. They're already in country. I've seen this movie before. 59 people were shot and killed, plus Stephen Paddock. 413 were wounded. 2 of them end up dying. They were in country already. I think this may have an international flavor to it. And there's a bunch of people that don't want the war to stop. And the Trump administration said, I will stop that war in 48 hours. And there's a little comedian guy who doesn't want that to happen. And I'm wondering, was he motivated to carry out the agenda of the deep state? Because he had the most to lose monetarily, personally, the most to lose. That's just a question. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's once you see how well funded and planned it is, you then
I'm
have
not
to
saying.
start- yeah.
Maybe it was the French. I don't know. Maybe it was the French.
I don't give a shit. Well, I think it was.
I don't think it was the French. I mean, they may be, that little guy, what's his name? He's a bit of an asshole, but I don't think it was the French. Yeah, Macron. Yeah, I don't think it was him. I don't think he tried to kill the president. I mean, I know they don't like Trump. I don't think he tried to kill the president. Zelensky?
It does take
I don't know
some
that- I think it could be talked into it.
I think
Zelensky could be talked into it by Hunter Biden and a couple 8-balls. I'll bet you could talk him into it.
That's a very good point. And if we're being totally honest, BB too. BB does not like Trump. There was that whole disrespect when they met at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump wants to end that war as well. So
yeah,
that leaves it. That puts at least 2 players on the board.
So we got a short list of usual suspects. Do we think North Korea could have pulled this off? I don't think so. I don't think so. Right.
Their guys would still be at the strip club and like running free through the country, like, "Hey, we have food, cheeseburgers."
MBS loves Trump. MBS has a very close relationship with Jared Kushner. Loves Trump. Can't wait for him to get back in. So it's not Saudi. It's absolutely not the Saudis. Now, it could be the other faction within, but there's no indication right now that this is a Saudi-run thing. So right now, we got to figure out who were in the trees, who was on the water tower. This Thomas Crooks thing looks like a stand-in body double-ish kind of play. Again, I'm not convinced that Thomas Crooks kid didn't die in a car accident, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And they've got a body of a kid named Thomas Crooks somewhere. But where's the autopsy? We don't have an autopsy. We don't have the death photos. These are leaked photos that we're seeing. Come on. This is a cover-up of unbelievable magnitude. And I don't know who knows this. Does Dan Bongino know there's silent? No. Does Eric Prince? I think Eric knows the inside story and was told, you've got to shut up, Eric. Eric Prince tells us the 488-yard shot. He's on the inside. Either the guy who took the shot used to work for him, knows him, his brother, Somehow word got back to Eric Prince that the guy who took the shot on the water tower was a 488-yard shot. Where he wouldn't have tweeted that out. He doesn't make mistakes like that. Come on, 488 yards, that's too specific. And when I measure it, it's 488. It's not 487. It's too specific. There was a shooter on the water tower. There were 2 shooters in the trees. There's a shooter in the window and there's a shooter on the roof. And right now we know the shooter on the roof appears to be a white guy. Other than that, I don't think he got a shot off. The crack thumps don't reach to the roof. So the question then becomes, who are the 4 other guys? The guy in the window is in uniform. Who are the guys up the trees? Who's the guy in the water tower? I don't know. What the hell do I know? I know the lady says they shot the guy in the water tower.
They're all
now we got to find him. Now we got to find the guy.
Those guys are all dead. If this is an op of this,
I think the guy in the woods got away. I think that's one of the reasons for the cover-up. You put out the nonsense story so that the guy who got away has a false sense of security and thinks nobody knows he exists.
Maybe this is proof that it's not the U.S. Because if it's the U.S. taken down and they're just going like Kennedy thinks still a problem 60 years later. If you really want to go full like big dick black ops and zip it up, you'd kill every assassin too. and you'd probably kill the guys that killed the assassins.
This is why I think it's important right now for you two guys to really consider your network, because Clay, if you can bring together 10 guys with similar character, similar backgrounds and qualifications, and together we bring this information to somebody like Clay Higgins, Corey Mills, Byron Donalds. I don't care that he's not part of the committee who's investigating this. I don't care. If we go to the right guys in Congress with this, with guys like you with your background, I don't see how they can deny this. And so I think just like we had the letter from the 51 members of the intelligence community that the laptop had all the appearances of Russian horseshit, I think we need something like that from you and your community of guys to say, based on the evidence that I've seen, this is a cover-up of incredible magnitude, and an investigation needs to be opened because you will be taken seriously. That's my opinion. Again, I could be wrong and you might disagree, but I think you guys are in a position now to pull together a group of people that can't be ignored, that can't be denied. I mean, if you guys,
I don't know, they ignore us pretty well.
well, again, but as we get together, I mean, we link arms, and it's, and we got, special ops, and we got Green Berets, and we got a SEAL team guy, and we got, NRA master, high master guys that don't miss ever. And we get all these guys together and everybody's looking at this evidence. We have to force the government to, I can't watch this be another JFK, man. I'm not going to let that happen. I can't. We know what happened. It's only 2 weeks later. We've got the evidence, and they're all pretending that this isn't what happened. I need you guys to tell two people, tell two friends, and let's pull this together. Tommy, you're in a position to do a roundtable with some of the leading special forces, Green Beret, Navy SEAL guys in the world, in the country. I mean, these are the best of the best. And if we can get everybody to see what Clay just saw, and everybody says, damn it, we got to go talk to Byron Donalds. We got to go talk to Clay Higgins. We got to go talk to Corey Mills. We got to go talk to the guy that was up on the roof. The guy that was up on the roof was a Navy SEAL sniper. What's his name? Crane, Eli Crane. Did you hear Rep Eli Crane up on the roof? Did you guys hear him? He was up on the roof. Did you hear what he said?
No.
So Rep Eli Crane goes up on the roof. Let's hear what he says. Hang on a second. I think I have it right here.
Very good.
Yeah, here we go. Eli. So his name is Rep Eli Crane. He is a former Navy SEAL sniper. So had to go to Buds, do all that Navy SEAL stuff. And then he goes to sniper school and becomes a Navy SEAL sniper. So this is, it's like first you become an MD and then you become an ophthalmologist. Right? It's the same kind of thing, right? First you got to pass Buds. This is Eli Crane telling everybody, here's what I think.
Spot to conduct counter sniper operations. I was a sniper in the SEAL team's colonel. As soon as I got out of the SUV and I saw that that water tower, I was like, that's exactly where I'd be. Put me right there.
So the Freudian slip.
That water tower.
Calls a sniper tower. He says, second I saw the sniper tower, that's where I'd be. And then he said the water tower. As soon as I saw the water tower, that's where I'd be. Well, of course, that provides overwatch over the whole venue. And they left it out of the map. Right? So why would they do that? Why would they leave it out of the protection zone? Why would they not have somebody stationed up there? Come on. This was a setup, bro. And the guy inside is in a Secret Service costume and there's a black SUV in the parking lot. It's not in the zone. Why is there a black SUV in the parking lot? It's not in your zone of protection, guys. Makes no sense. I got to run.
Yeah.
I can't thank you both enough.
No, yeah. Let's
open invitation. You wanna do a roundtable? Clay, you got a dozen questions. You want to look at the videos again? At your service.
I say let's let it marinate, and I'll link you guys on email. Let's do it. And
absolutely, John, appreciate it. It's been very enlightening. scarily, but very cool.
My pleasure, man. Again, let's not make this the last time we get a chance to work together. To me, this is the first. We need some momentum, and you're in a position to drive it. I don't know who are these other big names that you know that are on YouTube doing some of the tactical stuff, guys who are out there doing some of the demonstrations. The more of them we can get to look at this and go, what the? We can move the rock, man. We can move the rock. But we got to we need half a dozen of you guys to say this.
I say let's let it marinate, and yeah, let's absolutely do it again. I don't care. Let's do it. If the government kills me, it means you're gay. So I mean, just
exactly
putting the ball in your court or your mouth.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for the time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. John, Clay. Till next time.